49ers defeat the Cowboys in the divisional round game, so a lot to talk about here in this one. I think, first off, I'm going to start on the Cowboys side. Definitely the Tony Pollard injury hurt them a lot in this game. I think you could tell right away that it was a turning point, right, for the Cowboys when they didn't have Pollard, and then they struggled to create really any offense in the run game. I think that, you can look at Kellen Moore, you could look at, of course, Dak Prescott's struggles. I'll get into that a little bit later, but you could also look at maybe Zeke. I mean, other players, they couldn't really adapt after Tony Pollard went down in the run game. You can look at a lot of things. You can look at there. You can point fingers, whatever, at other places. But I think overall, for me, for the Cowboys' struggles, I think struggles they had at one side of the ball or in one aspect of their game led to other struggles in other parts of the game, and it just was like a collapsing tower, I guess, a little bit. Look, like, for example, right, lack of a good running game then leads them to needing to pass the ball more. But then Dak wasn't as good as he was last week. So then, 2 interceptions, some misreads there, some bad decisions in throwing. Then you're not able to have a good running option. And then you're having trouble throwing the ball accurately and making plays. And then on top of that, when you kind of get near that field goal range, your kickers missed 7 of the last 8 kicks or whatever. It's just all like a recipe for disaster. And oh yeah, by the way, you're playing against a team that has won 12 straight fucking games. So I don't know how you can really overcome all that, especially in this in the playoffs here. It's it was a tough game for them. It was a tough way to end the season, just like last year. But this time, I think this time around, it was might hurt Cowboys fans a little bit more because of the lack of this wasn't the type of game you want to go out on, right? If you're going to lose, you want to at least give it a really good effort. And if you're going to lose last score, whatever, good game, fine. But to lose in the way they did, it's tough. And I think, look, on the offensive side, we saw how a little bit of lack of experience with Kellen Moore hurt the way that they were able to adjust and adapt. Their offense didn't really have a rhythm going for the most part of the game. I think the beginning they kind of did, but it didn't really seem like there was much of a scheme they were trying to put together compared to what, you see with the Niners, right? Of course, you got to look at Dak here, and he threw 2 interceptions, but for me, it wasn't just the interceptions, because those happen, right? Rodgers threw interception in the last game. Brady throws I mean, a lot of people will throw interceptions, but it was how and when he threw those 2, right? Now in one of them, I think the first one, you can make an argument that Gallup maybe ran the wrong route or whatever, and I think that option to throw at him though was, I don't know, probably at that point probably wasn't the best option he could have taken. Again, I'm just, in terms of football, I'm just a fan. I didn't grow up playing football, but I grew up playing hockey, but playing sports, there's times when you pick one over the other and things like that. And I guess, again, better people qualify can kind of comment on that, but it was just, I don't know, from everything I've been hearing and listening to other people, probably wasn't the best point to throw that ball, led to an interception. And then that second one, it was at 2nd 2, right? It's that's just a throw you either have to make or choose kind of a better player in that progression, that read or whatever. But it's tough because I personally feel for Dak. I think that, you could tell he's really working hard, kind of gone through the ringer here with the people talking about him negatively, tearing him down a little bit, which I don't think was really warranted. I think that he's a good player and he's a good dude and he's a good face of a franchise in a way. But again, at the end of the day, right, winnings is all that kind of matters, and so if you're the Cowboys, are you wondering, or at least the Cowboys fans, are you sticking with Dak, or are you kind of looking this offseason to see who else is out there? But I can't imagine that they would move on from Dak this quickly. They just paid him a lot of money, right? So I don't know, I would be hesitant to think, or I wouldn't imagine that they're moving on from Dak or even looking anywhere else for at least the next season, and see how the next season goes or whatever. But look, the only real good side of the football here for Cowboys was that they played really well defensively. I think that the defense deserved such a way better outcome from this game. I mean, I don't think we even really heard Debo or McCaffrey that often, right? McCaffrey only ran for 35 yards with 10 carries. Debo only got 45 yards and 4 receptions. Look, if you would tell anyone that the Cowboys would hold McCaffrey to only 35 yards, Debo to under 20 rushing yards and under 50 yards receiving, I think a large portion of people, if you told them that before the game, would be like, oh, well, that means the Cowboys won, right? So that I think that the defense was a really good part of the game for the Cowboys. Just that offense, man, they couldn't get it done. This was a very, very winnable game for them. Just like the situation, right? I think the Niners came into this game like, I thought they were going to blow them out in a sense, right? If it was going to be close, and it would have been really close to the end. But if it was going to be any other way, it would have been a Niners blowout. And I don't know, you kind of got the sense, I mean, Cowboys took the lead for a little bit, I think, and like you felt like, okay, this could go one, maybe the Cowboys could pull this off. This could go one way or the other. Cowboys could maybe pull this off, but there was a lot of questionable things, I think, as even just a fan watching, like clock management one, right? Clock management by Mike McCarthy. Bad play by Dak Prescott, like those things cost them for sure. But like, a lot of people, I've heard people talk about a big play in terms of clock management and the coaching staff is when the Cowboys were in possession and it was about like 3 minutes to go in the fourth quarter and whatever, maybe 2 or 3 minutes, and they punt the ball. And that, I'm like, that's a play where it's a bit odd because you put the ball in that situation where you're giving the Niners control of the clock in a sense, right? And I understand like they had their timeouts and everything, but like, I don't know, like why are the game is like right there. It's 2-3 minutes left and you're giving it away and you're relying on your defense, who did play well. So I guess, there is that part of it. The defense did play well. But like it was a questionable call in my opinion, I think, and from what I heard from other people's opinion, and you guys in comments, let me know if there was a good reason for that. And I'm sure there is a good reason for punting the ball at that point, but it's tough. And then again, it's easy to play, like Monday morning quarterback or whatever, and to second guess it after the fact, right? Because if they get that stop and then they score, it's like, or even hell, if they even get a defensive score there, like that's a genius move, right? So it's can go both ways, but I just didn't think that punting it that late in the game was that much of a smart decision or whatever. And also the way they were trying, when they did finally get the ball back, the way they were trying to go down the field was like a lot of short yardage and stuff like that. And I think at some point they had to kind of go, right? At some point they had to throw a long ball or whatever. And I don't know, it kind of fell short there, but like it was a tough game for the Cowboys. But on the other side of the 49ers, right, I think the 49ers there, in my opinion, you really saw Kyle Shanahan and his play calling and his scheme really come up big. I personally like Brock Purdy. I think in my opinion, I think it would be crazy to start any other QB for the Niners other than Brock Purdy right now in the playoffs and or moving forward. I get it. Jimmy G, was playing well. I still think he can be a really good quarterback. Trey Lance, on the other hand, I just don't know. Like from everything we've seen of him, I think that there's potential for sure. But like, I think in a certain situation where Trey Lance is probably your only option, then yeah, there is time to be patient and let him, learn and make the mistakes he needs to. But like, why, my opinion, why would you do that when you got a guy right now in Brock Purdy who, like, you drop him into the system and he's doing really well. Doesn't throw in really a lot of interceptions, or I don't think he has thrown any. I don't know. I don't know if he has yet or whatever. Probably have to double check that. But throws the ball really well. Teammates love him. Rally behind him, right? And he makes the throws he needs to, right? He's not trying to be Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady, like where Patrick Mahomes, he's scrambling or whatever. Brock Purdy just needs to be the QB in Kyle Shanahan's system that can get the plays off that he needs to get off. And he has done a great job with it. I think Brock Purdy is the guy right now, and I think he should be the guy moving forward until he is showing everyone otherwise. And that's my opinion. I just think that's, my opinion, no-brainer. I don't know why there would be a question, but again, he made the plays he needed to make. He makes really smart decisions, good decisions. He protected the football. And again, like with the scheme in Kyle Shanahan's, sometimes that's all you need. And then you can come out with a win. Look, like right now, it's a little hard to see any other team that could completely just destroy the Niners. I am excited to see how the Eagles are going to do it. I like that matchup. I'm also a big fan of the Eagles. So in terms of just this playoff run and how they're playing with Jalen Hurts, interesting to see how they coach against them, right? I think Sirianni's been doing a great job this year. So to kind of go toe-to-toe with each other, I'm really excited to see that game. It's going to be a fun one to watch. So let me know what you think in the comments between the Niners and the Eagles on how that's going to pan out.